always wanted to know what was on the bottom of the creek, what fish were in there. It turns out there's one fish that's a little weird and misunderstood. I remember learning when I was pretty young about this fish that lived in the creek. One birthday party, my mom was towing me and a bunch of my friends around the creek, and she looks down and there's a leech on her leg. So I think I confused lampreys with leeches, and so I was a little scared of them. I had no idea what was living in my backyard. So I'm back in my childhood playground to find and film a special little fish. Even before I started forming memories, just the sound of the creek, that has been a part of my childhood since the very beginning.
This is our creek, little salmon stream that runs through the property.
I grew up on Vancouver Island beside Morrison Creek, and I really think that drove my career on the ocean. I'm a diver, fisher, artist, and underwater camerawoman. I just always wanted to try and capture the magic that I was feeling when I was on a dive. I started landing some bigger and bigger jobs, and I was getting really excited about the momentum that was building in my career. But at the same time, I knew that if I was to decide to have kids, that I had to be okay with losing my career. I had to tell people that I wasn't available for shoots because I couldn't dive for the 10 months I was pregnant. If you say no to a job, then they move on to the next person. I sort of mourned the end of my career before I even started the process of considering having a family.
Do you recognize this human?
Hi. Hello, gorgeous. Hi. Thank you, Grandpa. You got some milk on your face. Let's see if we can find some lampreys in my parents' backyard. So this is where I grew up, and this is where I learned how to swim. Morrison Creek is a small stream in the Comox Valley on Vancouver Island. It starts from springs in the headwaters and flows through small farms, the neighborhood, and my backyard. It connects the whole city of Courtenay. Although it's a very urban stream, it is one of the most productive salmon streams on the island. But the real star of the creek is the Morrison Creek lamprey. Their evolution is fascinating. And the fact that they are only present in this one creek anywhere in the world is pretty special. And that creek is in my backyard. Lampreys are prehistoric fish that live in many freshwater systems in Canada. Usually, they're parasitic species that feed on fish and other animals, and non-parasitic species with less scary teeth. But Morrison Creek lampreys are a unique form of the western brook lamprey that have both types in one population. This might be the missing link in some of the evolution of this incredible little fish, and we can learn a lot from this variety in this one tiny little creek. Since these lampreys can only live here, they're classified as an endangered species. There's a group of people called the Streamkeepers in Comox Valley, and they are huge lamprey fans, and they have done a lot of work trying to make the watershed protected and challenge the misconception that lamprey are these scary fish. I held that notion for a number of years, but they're actually really cute and they're very special, and I want people to see that. And I hope by capturing them during their mating season on film, we make just a little contribution. I think I'm gonna try and hand her back over to Grandpa now that she's napping. Never wake a sleeping baby. Let's go look for lampreys. I haven't been asking for a lot of help from my parents. This is the first time I've really asked for their help, and I think they're pretty excited to spend a lot of time with their granddaughter. I don't see any lampreys. I did find a dingle hopper though. If I was a lamprey, I would live here in an area where there's mid-sized pebbles, and some of the pebbles are going to be a little bit cleaner than the surrounding ones because they've been kind of wrestling them around and making their nests. I don't see any lamprey, but I do see a lot of coho fry, which means we're on the right track. What is salmon habitat is lamprey habitat. Morrison Creek lampreys start their lives after they hatch in the mud. The larvae burrow in the silt and eat whatever passes in the current. They live in the mud for about 3 to 7 years. No one really knows how long, but they grow to be about 10 to 15 centimeters. These worm-like juveniles go through metamorphosis, like a butterfly, into adults with new teeth and fins, ready to swim and grow. And right now, we're looking for them while they're getting ready to spawn. Well, I see some salmon, so that's a good indication. See some pebbles. Oh my goodness. Lamprey. There's a lamprey. There's 2 lampreys. They're moving rocks around. Okay, well, let's get set up. The light is not great. Everything's working. It's just really dark. I'm trying to not get down on myself, because I have to learn. Just need to learn a little bit quicker. I can tell I've been away from Flora for a long time because my boobs are really full. I gotta go find my daughter. Morrison Creek is full of life, with baby salmon, snails, crayfish, caddisflies, and even native freshwater mussels. I think curiosity sparks interest, and interest is the cure for apathy. The more you know about species, the more you know about the life that lives in these waterways, the more you care. So I had never spent this amount of time with this lamprey. It was really cool getting to know these lamprey at these particular nesting sites. They have these sensory organs underneath their eyes. It's this really beautiful dot pattern. And they have 7 holes for their gills along the side. Their skin kind of looks velvety. And they've got these little frills that come out from their oral disc, which they use to suction onto rocks. At one point, we noticed that they have some kind of sensory organ right in the middle of their forehead. And so we kind of nicknamed that the unicorn horn. And we learned later that it's a nose. There it goes. Lovely little lamprey. Before lampreys spawn, they get together in groups and start building their nests. And they spend days moving these huge rocks with these tiny little bodies. They heft these rocks out of the way, and then they do this very quick motion that kicks up a lot of sediment and disperses the sediment out from the nest.
How many times did you think about Flora today?
At one point, the lamprey started reminding me of her, kind of looking around, like she looks around. Maybe I shouldn't compare my daughter to a lamprey, but they're both really cute.
Are you getting that?
Getting what?
It was just going a bit wild.
It was like moving and
doing
like
its flutter. This is actually so thrilling.
So Holly and I used to swim in the creek together when we were young. And we used to be so afraid of these. We thought they were leeches.
They touched.
We wanted to capture the actual spawning. So we wanted to see lamprey love.
I didn't even know what a lamprey was until 15 minutes ago, and I'm so into them right now.
It was really special to be able to share this with them.
Oh, you see that?
Wait, are they actually doing it?
No.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, come on.
They're playing the game. Thanks for letting us
Stop by. It's so great. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Thanks, guys. The best part about working in your backyard is your lifelong friends can come visit you at work. Rain on Thursday. Friday, lots of rain. Saturday, lots of rain. Sunday's looking good. Little overcast. Monday, rain.
So after today, we can't really shoot for a week?
Yeah, we won't have the light for a week. We came out to check on some of the lamprey nesting sites that we'd found. The water was completely silted out and we couldn't see the lamprey. We didn't know when they were going to spawn, and I wasn't sure we were going to get it. Like any shoot, after a few days, you start thinking, well, what if it never happens? Leaving Flora with my parents was something I wasn't sure how it was going to go. I didn't have to split my brain. I could just focus on filming. Once you realize that it kind of feels nice that you don't have a wriggling 6-month-old, then you start feeling guilty. It's extremely complicated being relieved to go back into the world of adults where you can have conversations about things that aren't diapers or baby food or something like that. But it's also, a sense of loss and longing for your child while you're away from them. It can be both freeing and also really lonely at the same time. Hi! What are you doing here? Hi. It's so good to see you. Hi. You want to see some lamprey, Flora? They like rocks. You kind of got to look for like pebbles. Oh, he's moving. He's moving, Flora. Flora. He's moving.
The quiet one's moving?
He's moving. The quiet one's moving. Oh, now he's back to not moving. I love you. I love you. Many, many times we get really excited that there's going to be some sort of romantic behavior happening, and it never happened. So even when I wasn't filming, I was checking on the nest to make sure that nothing was happening. And one night, after I think it was 14 days of filming, I had come back just to check, and I saw 5 lamprey, and they were mating. And so I managed to get a text out to Sonya, but I had all of the SD cards, so she wasn't able to film. So we got some cell phone footage.
What are you doing?
They're mating. They're mating. There's eggs, and there's love, and there's lamprey, and there's lust. I want people who have any kind of habitat in their backyard. That could be a stream, it could be a ditch, it could be a mud puddle, just to go out there and look. Because I do believe that there is a special animal in everybody's backyard. If we can spark even a few people's curiosity, I think we've done something good. Before, my idea of a successful career was adventure. Now, what I want for my career is the adventure, but I want it to be a little closer to home. The same thing every time I'm here. I wish I could go back and tell myself before I got pregnant not to worry so much. I missed out on some opportunities, but I've also gained some opportunities that I never knew I would have. I didn't even think about looking in my own backyard for a little special fish that lived there. Morrison Creek, it's always been the soundtrack to my childhood, and at some point, I kind of forgot about it. And that's the best thing that's come out of this project, is that I got to sit and listen and observe the creek. And I really want that for my daughter. I want her to grow up in a place where she can understand the interconnectivity of it all.